All right, what is up, everyone? Today we're going to be talking with Carson today, our 10th place contestant from Sequester 3.0. Carson, what's up?
Third boot. It's brutal.
Yeah.
It's real low. It's a lot lower on the ranking list than I had hoped. So that's for sure.
But you played a hell of a game. You didn't stop doing what you were doing, and I have a lot of respect for your game. So let's start off with asking, like, how'd you get involved with this?
Sure.
Okay.
Basically, like I had met Audrey the previous fall at a reality event, but I follow like all the people, so that was all to it. But then I saw that she was doing this, and I was like, oh, this sounds kind of cool. So I applied for it, and then obviously went through the casting process. And she was like, oh, I remember you from meeting you. So I think that definitely helped. Certainly wasn't the only thing that I think got me on, but just having that connection with someone to be able to kind of, oh yeah, you remember this or whatever, I think that was helpful. So it happened pretty fast, but it was pretty cool.
So let's talk about the casting process. So obviously Audrey tells you about this. You go through the casting process. Did you have to do semifinals? Did you have to apply online?
Yeah, it was like an online application, and then we did an interview, and then we had to submit some more videos as like a semifinals process. And then once we did that, then I heard that I was going to be on. So that's pretty much the couple of stages that it went into. So.
All right, so you find out that you're going on the show. You see the whole entire cast. So what is your first impression with the people in this cast when you saw the intro?
I thought that, everyone pretty much had big personalities for the most part. Mostly everyone did, which I think proved itself out during the season. So I had a good idea that this would be a pretty strong cast. Like, I mean, even if you looked through all the list of all their bios and you saw all the different memory scores and the logic reasoning and the personality types and the IQ, like everyone scored pretty well on all that stuff. So I was like, this is a group of people that's probably going to be highly, highly competent at the game. And I think that's what we saw.
Yeah. Is there anybody that when you were watching the intro, you're like, I definitely need to align with this person?
I really liked Daniel because Daniel was someone who I felt was kind of similar to me. He was a little bit younger than me, but like a similar personality to me. So that was something that I was like, okay, this is someone maybe that I can work with. And he had the radio background that I have. So that kind of was something that drew me to him. And then Annette as well, because Annette was my same age, from Orlando, worked in the media. You guys talked about that in your preseason podcast a little bit. So those were kind of the two people right off the bat that I said, okay, there's a common ground here. There's something that we can start with and build with in the game.
Yeah, and Audrey was telling us before the cast was even announced that there's a secret between like two people. And like, is it the Orlando people? Are they like cousins? We were like speculating it. What is it? What is it? And I guess,
wait, what was the secret between two people?
I don't even know. She hasn't even told us.
All right.
All I know is that everyone had professional jobs, and I'm like envying your cast. But you guys did a really. I was like, damn it! Oh. But yeah. So going to Sequester, what do you think your pros and cons were before going on the show?
Sure. Like I felt like the cast, like just talking about it, I felt like the cast was tailored to me in some ways. You had a radio guy on there. You had a girl from Orlando on there. Andrew, I'm from South Florida. Andrew grew up in South Florida and lives there now. So like, and if you just go through so many people, there were other people that had like a media background. So I looked at this list and I was like, these are some people that I can just kind of relate with. So I thought that was a strength. But as always, I think the downfall is that I'm going to kind of come right out of the gates and talk and play, and I'm not really going to conceal or hide anything. And I think that's kind of probably what was my downfall. So.
All right, so let's just get right into the start of the game. So Cycle 1, there's 12 people. You're excited to meet everybody. You're in rooms of 3. You find out that you have this entire bounty twist.
Right.
First off, who was your bounty, and what are you planning on going after this person?
My bounty was like Lana, and I was just like, Lana's not a threat. Like Lana's not gonna like do anything. She's a nice girl, like quiet. Like she's not gonna. There's not really any reason to go after her. Like I felt like at that stage in the game, first day, you were gonna waste way too much capital to like go so hard for someone to get them out, and then everyone would know what you were going to do as well. So I feel like that is a twist in the game that could be very useful maybe later on in the game, but so early, I don't know how it really plays because again, it's almost like you've got to just kind of fall into luck with it, and your person gets evicted that night, and then you earn that power for later in the game.
Yeah. So, everyone likes to meet each other. Callie and Andrew, what the hell happened? 6-6 vote.
Yo, that was crazy because I was in the first room I was in with Callie. Mm-hmm. So like I bonded with her just because we were in the first room. That was someone that I didn't really think that I would like bond with. I don't know that we had too much in common, but I was like, this girl seems genuine. Like I really like this girl. And my whole thought process going into the game was like, all right, first eviction, we've got to make it someone that is really, really easy to get out. Like we've got to come up with a reason that makes it easy for everyone else, because otherwise it's just brutal. First elimination, it's like difficult. So I thought Andrew, because being on Big Brother 12 before, was the obvious choice. So like I was definitely one of the people that kind of started to filter that through, and we got a close number of votes, but we didn't get enough, and so it forced that crazy tie.
And after the tie, after their plea, did you vote for Andrew still, or did you vote for Callie?
I stuck with it. Like I voted for Callie all the way because I had a feeling that it was going to get back to Andrew, that I had kind of thrown I wasn't the first person to throw his name out there, but like that was my whole thing that night, is I was trying to lead people down a road to where they would say his name. So I was saying like, okay, what would be an easy vote for us tonight? Like what stands out about this cast that makes someone an easy target? And then I think it might've been even Jesse that first said Andrew, and like everyone quickly jumped on board with that. So I knew that it would somehow get back to Andrew, that like I was one of the main people behind that. So I was like, I really liked him too, even meeting him and stuff and talking to him. And I knew that was going to happen. But at the same time, I just felt like to get him out first would be the best for my game. And I'm not sure that it was, but we tried to do that, and then it didn't work, although it was a short-lived stay for him as well in Sequester.
Yeah. So in cycle 2, obviously Andrew's the target because she was the target the previous night.
Right.
Do you think that a lot of people were saying that you and Andrew were close because of the blog and stuff like that? Do you think that maybe keeping him in the game could have helped you?
I think it could have, because I think it was ridiculous, like how that was portrayed as to me and him being in like some alliance or working together. Like it was never that at all. Now that night was the night he threw out Evie, and I saw Evie as a strong competitor in the game too. And like, I would have been cool with that. So I was just like, hey man, if you get the votes, like whatever. But like, that was never a possibility that night. It was pretty much unanimous across the board to get rid of him. So there was never any point where we were that tightly aligned. But I think with him too, I was one of the only people like willing to give him the time of day in the game at that point. So I think maybe from his standpoint, even though he may have known that I had worked to get him out in that first cycle, he realized that I might be one of the only people there that he could work with if he was able to stay. So that maybe on his end is kind of where people got that impression. But certainly from my end, I was sort of neutral in the game to him, especially because he threw out someone that I also thought was a strong target going forward.
Oh, man. So Andrew gets eliminated. Did you vote Andrew out cycle 2, or did you vote somebody else? You did, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So you vote Andrew out. You're into cycle 3. You find out the polls aren't up.
Right.
Obviously, double eviction.
You guys were the first people to tip me on that, because I did see some Twitter commentary in the morning, and I knew there was going to be a couple double evictions, but I didn't know what the tip was to figure them out. And then when you said, "Oh, no polls," and I was like, okay, here we go. I had a feeling that it might have been a double that day, and then you guys kind of confirmed that for me. So
yeah, it usually is when the polls aren't up. It's a double eviction, and then people go like, "Oh my god, what are we doing? What are we doing?
Right.
What are we doing?"
Right.
So, like, when you find out it's a double eviction, 2 people are going. It can't be you. Who did you have in mind?
Well, my whole thing from the start is I was hoping to get in a room, preferably with Elora first, because I really hadn't talked to her, but I really liked Elora the times that we had talked. And I had a feeling that she would be someone on my side to get Evie out of the game, because two strong women going at each other normally just doesn't work out.
Yeah.
So like that was my hope, is to get her in a room, and then also to be able to rally like Daniel and Annette and Drew at that time. I had developed a really good connection with Drew on night 2. So I felt like I could get like the 5 or 6 votes I needed. I feel like Drew could have gone over and gotten Casey because they were close. So I felt like there was an ability to get votes in favor of getting Evie out of the game. And the whole thing I was going to pitch is, look, this is a girl that's got all these followers on social media. She's obviously going to be influential in any polls. She's a smart girl. She knows how to play this game. So I had the pitch, but then I was put in a room with Evie to start the game on night 3. So
did you talk to Evie? And because usually when you're in a room, you have a lot of time to talk to people, and there's a 3-room limit. So when you talk to Evie, did you try to get her to try to maybe say a name, or maybe convince her that you are working with her technically?
Well, you know what was hilarious is like, so obviously the first thing they had that night is they did the LOC comp, and she won the LOC comp.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh gosh, what are we going to do here now? I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to just talk to this girl for a little bit, like just, play it cool, kind of feel her out, and then go and do what we need to do. And maybe, at that time I thought Miranda was working with her, but which really didn't end up being accurate. But that was my thought process. I was like, okay, we'll just go for Miranda now. Since we can't get Evie, we'll get like her second lieutenant. Well, she at that point like kind of went off on me because she had heard the whole me and Andrew thing from the blogs, like you mentioned. And so I was trying to diffuse that, but she didn't really buy what I was selling. And so at that point, I knew I was in a little bit of rocky water. I stopped talking to her. I started to go into the other rooms, but the double eviction, I just didn't have enough time. I
I know that feeling. Double evictions are the worst ones, trust me. Oh, man.
Yeah, you've been there.
Yeah. So some people were blindsided by the fact that you got evicted, and they all thought it was Lana. So how do you think the votes came with that?
Well,
because there's
what's crazy is the votes I think were nuts, because I thought everyone on my side, like the Drew, Daniel, Annette, like that group of people, I thought we were all voting Miranda out. Some of people in that group definitely voted for Lana. So on my end of things, the votes were split. And then as I understand it, like literally that was thing that my name was thrown out like literally 5 minutes before the vote. There was a bunch of people in Evie's room. She threw it out. They went with it because, I mean, you're scrambling, in the first eviction like that. And that was it, man. That was it.
That sucks. I was like, no, Carson.
I know.
This can't be.
I know.
Oh, my God. And then after that, did you watch the rest of the double eviction?
I watched it. I was like, I threw some things and like yelled for about 5 minutes, and then I watched the rest of the double eviction. And what sucks is I guess it kind of went the way that it probably would have gone that night. Like if it was just one eviction, I feel like Lana probably would have been the person to go and not me. But because it was that like just mad scramble there at the beginning, it was really difficult to try to like neutralize all the problems and make sure that someone else went out,
Yeah. So after that, you get eliminated. A couple of more cycles. Jesse gets out. Did you expect Jesse to get out?
I don't know. Like I liked Jesse in the game, and I think he might have made some bad just decisions on who to side with. I don't
know if you know, but he made an all-girl alliance.
Yeah.
You heard about that?
Yeah, it's like I get it, but at the same time, I mean, I don't know. You just kind of have to like that was someone that I definitely had his back. Now, how long I had his back, I don't know, but he definitely would have gone longer with me in the equation than I think he would have gone with some of the other people around. So that was something that I don't know. I mean, he was kind of a big character in the game, a big personality. So I guess I wasn't too surprised to see him go as early as he did.
Yeah. Do you think it was a smart move for Drew to use his power to get people to vote out Jesse?
Yeah, because I don't really think there was ever that strong of a alliance or whatever you want to call bond with those two. Like I never exhibited anything like that, so I don't think it was a bad move on Drew's part. I mean, Drew really did. play a very good game until
Yep.
until he didn't. So that
Yeah.
it's not like Drew did a whole lot in this game. It's not like he screwed a whole lot up in this game. He
Yeah.
pretty much played a very solid game throughout. So.
So moving on to cycle 5, Elora is the main topic of discussion because
Sure.
apparently she was really close with Jesse. Do you think it was smart to get Elora out over somebody like Evie?
I think that Evie was a very strong player, but I think Elora could have been a very strong player in this game. Like, a lot of people liked Elora a lot, so I don't think it was a bad move on their part. She was a dangerous player. I knew that whole thing was going to happen. Like, I saw that dynamic, the Evie Elora thing developing before it happened. And unfortunately, I wasn't even able to get to Elora the night that I went out to kind of say, yo, this is what's going to go down, and this is kind of what we need to do to protect against that. And so she, especially after Jesse went, she was a sitting duck. She had some good relationships in the game, I feel like, but she didn't really have anyone that she was tightly bound with. So that she didn't have that person that was like watching her back no matter what.
Well, and also, too, the fact that she is by herself. You mentioned a really good point that she was by herself. Now, this game is all about numbers, too. So why do you think they should have not recruited Elora as a number to get
just because it changes? Like, it changes on every night. So you've got someone as personable as Elora, as likable as she is, and the very next night, she could have easily rounded up numbers and been there. I mean, especially thinking of a perspective from like Evie's game, I think it was really smart for Evie. Now, could maybe Drew have used her or Annette used her better and farther in the game? Yeah, I think she would have been a more trustworthy person in the end game for like Annette to work with as opposed to, say, Evie. So yeah, like in that regard, I guess it would have been a better decision for them to keep her around. But at the same time, you're still dealing with a very dangerous player that could have won the game over you. So it wasn't one of those like catastrophic moves for anyone.
Right. So let's get on with the biggest blindside ever in Sequester.
Oh.
So obviously, Daniel's the topic of the discussion. Daniel has been extremely loud, and we have this 4-person alliance. I don't know what it's called, between Drew and Miranda, Casey, and Annette.
Right.
They were a strong 4.
Right.
And obviously, the main 2 people that are going to go out is Evie and Daniel.
Right.
Now, Annette has this power where she can take out, I think it's 1 or 2 votes. I'm not exactly sure.
Right.
It's 1 vote, right?
No, wasn't it? I thought it was all the votes. It was like, it's basically like an immunity idol in Survivor, the LOS. It's basically like that's how I believe it was played.
Oh, okay.
Like, it was actually like it wipes out the votes for that person entirely.
Oh, so like it wiped out Drew's vote completely?
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because I was like, why isn't
what
it?
I'm saying is it wiped out the votes for Daniel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So anyone who voted Daniel out is
right. That vote was just null. Right. Exactly.
Okay. I gotcha.
Yeah.
Because when they explained it, it was like
it's so confusing, right? It's like, what happened? I know.
So, last 5 minutes, everyone wants Daniel because Daniel's a loudmouth, and Daniel just goes off on Miranda. Like, Miranda's this big player.
Incredible, man.
Drew's the mastermind. And, I mean, do you think it was smart that Daniel did that?
I do, because he stayed. And, like, I don't know. That whole thing to me is just funny because, like, I feel like he deserved. I know, like, Annette had the plan to use it already, and she sent me the screenshot. I know she posted on Twitter how she was talking with someone earlier in the day about how she was going to use it to, like, keep a target in the game and all this stuff. But I don't think that she necessarily knew in going into the night that Daniel was going to be that target. And then I thought that he did deserve more credit for persuading Evie and by proxy persuading Annette to make that move. Like, I know it was in Annette's head to do that, but I feel like he deserved more credit than he got for that, certainly on finale night. I thought, I mean, the guy just hammered away for an hour, the same talking points, the same everything, and they were kind of buying it, and then they weren't, and then that last, like, 5-10 minutes, like you said, you just saw the eyes turn on these people and the lights click in and they were like, okay, let's go with this.
Mhm.
So I thought he didn't, everyone was trying to discredit that move. And I get it that 100% of it of the credit shouldn't go to him, but I thought he should have gotten more due for what he was able to pull off there.
Because he also got Evie's vote too, regardless whether Annette did it or not.
Right, exactly. So I thought that was pretty impressive by him. Not a good move for Annette, by the way, I don't think, because I know that she doesn't think that she could have beaten Drew and Casey in the end, and maybe that's the case, but I thought that those were the people that she had the better chance of actually getting. You got to get there, right?
Yeah.
I thought that those were the better people that she may have had a better chance of making the finals with, because, in that final four territory, like, I feel like Drew might have wanted to cut Casey. Casey might have wanted to cut Drew, and she may have been the one they'd be able to slide in there.
But also in the case of that, Daniel did say that he would vote for Drew and Miranda at the end. So regardless on whether he did take any of those two, she wasn't good. I don't think she would have won against any of them.
I don't know. I mean, I would have voted for her over Miranda, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know that I would have voted for her over anyone else.
Even Drew?
Even I think because Drew was playing the best game when he went out.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. We don't know. We don't have the benefit of knowing, like, revisionist history, if these things would have happened, what those people would have done in those final few days, because I do think that would have weighed in. So maybe Annette would have set herself up well. Like, for instance, I think Annette would have done a lot better in the competitions on the finale or on the night of the final than Drew or Evie.
Right.
So, than Daniel or Evie. So maybe that weighs in. It's just so hard to say.
Yeah, crazy night. So let's talk about the final five.
Right.
So obviously Daniel, Evie, and Annette, they said that they're going to work together.
Right.
And then, do you think that was smart instead of Annette trying to maybe save Miranda?
Yeah, see, I don't understand why. I didn't understand the Miranda scare. Like, I didn't get that. Like, what they were saying, she was a comp beast. I was like, how? Why? Who says who? Like, how is that? How is that? I mean, I thought she played a decent game. She was fine, but, like,
yeah,
she was probably, to me, like, I would have just viewed her as the least threatening player left in the game. So how do you not keep that person? I didn't understand that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm looking for answers if you have it for me, because, like, we're not able to watch everything, right? So I see bits and pieces of things, and you see bits and pieces of things. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, I don't get this. Like, I don't get the scare factor with her.
I think Annette realized that if she maybe probably took Daniel, that she can beat Daniel at the end, because Daniel was like a loose cannon.
Right. Yeah,
so maybe her plan.
That's true, because I didn't realize how bitter this jury would end up being. Like, I think it's kind of ridiculous. You play a game over a week, and people are going to, like, throw a hissy fit on the show about someone's game. Like, that was his game. Like, I was surprised by that. So you're right. I mean, maybe that was the plan, but keep both of them in. Keep Daniel and Miranda in the game then in that point. I mean, I do think that's probably the strategy. That's who you want to go with.
But also,
Daniel and Miranda.
And to take in consideration, he couldn't have done that regardless, because Evie did win the 2 LLCs.
Right. That's
so
true.
Even if that was the case, it would he would have gotten Annette out.
But they could have gotten Casey out, though.
Yeah. So then it would have been Annette. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. Like, I would have done that. I mean, I would have done that all day, because at least, to me, like, I thought Casey played a really solid game. It was under the radar, so you could kind of maybe undervalue it. But he still had that tight alliance with Drew the whole way through. And that was something that I thought was impressive that Miranda never had. Like, I thought that person for her was going to be Evie, but that never materialized. I even watched clips here and there where Miranda was readily willing to get rid of Evie. So I was like, okay, this is not the way that I perceived it while I was in there. So I thought that was something that Casey really could hold on to. So I don't understand. That's the people that I probably would have either gone with, like, Casey and Miranda, or probably honestly Miranda and Daniel, just because I thought maybe Casey and Miranda would be better at those comps in the end.
Yeah, it's all about perspective, honestly.
Yeah, it's weird. Like, it's weird how different the perspectives can be. I mean, it is like, it is really strange when you see that, and then you start to kind of figure out and understand why votes in other shows that you've watched in the past go the way that they do. So I feel like I have a little bit of a better understanding of that now, doing this for the week that we did it.
Yeah, different perspectives, different people want different people out. It was
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the Funnel LLC. Evie versus Daniel. Casey gets it so fast. I've never seen that. That, like, he topped
Woo!
Tiffany.
That was impressive, man. That was
Like,
good stuff.
when I saw that, I was like, Casey's got this in the bag.
Yeah, I
Like,
mean,
that was.
it was impressive, but it was also cool. Like, I guess in the years past, what people were saying is that they just limited the competitions. If the people weren't done by midnight, they just cut it, and the closest person to finishing won. But even though it took like an hour and a half, I thought it was really cool to watch them actually play out the jigsaw puzzle and to see Daniel kind of win that war of attrition there.
Were you rooting for more of Evie, or were you rooting for more for Daniel?
Oh, I think that my comments in the finale,
Yeah.
everyone knows who I was rooting for. I was rooting for Daniel very hard. I was like nervous. I was paranoid. I was like breaking out into sweats just watching him try to finish that. I'm like, no, why? You have the whole side of it over there. That's the corner, man. Just put it there. You know, that was the.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't know if he wins that if they never show him that ghost mode or whatever it was, where it put that translucent box on the screen. Because he had no idea that he had an entire edge corner of the thing done. He had it on the other side. I'm like, he keeps trying to fit pieces on it. I'm like, that is a straight line. Like, what are you doing? And finally he saw that box and was like, oh, it doesn't fit the whole page. So that was really helpful for him. And after he got through that, I felt like he was just like starting to get on a roll.
Yeah, Daniel surprised everyone. I did not expect Daniel to make it. Like, I feel like Daniel's story compared to Casey's was a little bit more different at the final two. You have Casey, who's playing extremely low under the radar, kills the Funnel LLC,
right?
And then you have somebody like Daniel, who was targeted night two, like with the whole entire Andrew versus Daniel fight,
right?
Transitioning to the final two, how to get there. Two different stories and two different perspectives in the final two.
Right. I mean, only 3 of us voted for Daniel, and I was one of them. And it was just, for me, that story resonated better with me. Like, I wanted to see someone who, even if they screwed up in the game, even if they had, you know, times where they didn't make the right decision, I wanted to see people that played boldly, that went out and did some crazy stuff. And that's
but you voted for Daniel to win?
Yes. I was one of the 3 votes for Daniel.
Oh, because Evie, Jesse, and Drew.
No,
Drew said he voted.
Oh, then he had 4, I guess. That's news to me. I did not know that Drew.
Maybe Drew lied. I don't know.
I don't know. Drew is smart. Like, I knew Drew was smart, but he's even smarter than I thought he was. That guy pulls strings even in real life. I have no clue. I have no idea. Who knows?
Yeah. So the season overall, what do you think about the season? And moving into season 4, how do you what more stuff could they even add?
Yeah, it's so awesome. Like, I mean, it's really, really good, and the casting is so good. And I thought like everyone, for the most part, came to play really hard, which was cool. Like, that's something that we don't get in Big Brother anymore. So I love what they do with the cast. I think even like a lot of the twists and the punishments and all that stuff, it's like really, it's interesting. It's not like twists that you would see in Big Brother that you're just like, I hate this twist, get rid of it. Like, it's good stuff. I love the concept. Obviously, I wasn't someone that had seen any of the prior 2 seasons before joining, so now I'm definitely going to be like locked in to watch the seasons to come and stuff like that, because it's good stuff. It's going to come here quicker than we know it too. I guess they're already casting there for season 4, so we'll see if they're able to redo the. I mean, how do you compare this season to like the others? Yeah, I don't know if you saw 1, but obviously you were in 2, so.
It was like it's like a math problem. 1, no, it's season 3 greater than season 2, greater than
Okay.
season 1.
So it's been
So
on
it keeps
a
consecutively getting
okay.
better.
All right, and you know what I mean. It makes sense because like more people find out about it, so you've got a bigger pool to draw from, like casting wise. That gives you like more diversity. Like it's not just people that maybe have played games like this before. It's people that haven't that are reality fans. I know there were some people like Callie told me. I guess this is true that she never even like watched Big Brother.
Yeah.
She wasn't even. I was like, how did you get on here? How do you even know about this? So I have no clue, but like it just provides that like diversity of options. And then, you know, with a new game, now you're starting to work out the kinks. And I mean, we even saw this, I think, in like the evolution of Big Brother to where like they did the first season like they do all the international seasons, and they're like, this doesn't work here. So they retooled it. Then they got season 2, and they just got progressively better really throughout like maybe the first 10 seasons before Big Brother has sort of turned and devolved into crap. But it used to be great, so that's all that matters.
It's going to be exciting.
Yeah.
We're going to have a big Skype chat at the end, 50 people.
Yo, that was an eye-opening experience. I was not prepared for that, mostly because I didn't have enough beer to finish that evening. But that was wild, or like a rap party. That was pretty cool.
Yeah. So, Sequester All-Stars, would you go back?
I would have for sure. I'm not sure that I have the resume to go back as a third boot. Maybe some kind of like second chances. This guy got screwed. Like, I don't know, but probably not getting that call. But I would play it again. It was awesome, man.
Yeah. All right. So I guess that wraps up the recap. Carson, where can they find you? Where
Absolutely.
can the fans find you?
Yes, at CAINGLE on Twitter. So lots of tweets all the time.
Anything new coming up? Any big events you're going to?
Yeah, I'll be at Hearts of Reality in a couple weeks here, so that'll be sweet. In celebration, awesome charity event, reality stars from like Survivor and Big Brother. I've been there since I live in Orlando. I've been going to it for like 4 years now, so that's something that reality fans, I think, if you have the opportunity to go, you should definitely go. It's a whole weekend, but they even do like a big closing party on Saturday night. That's really, really fun that I always go to. So.
All right, I guess that wraps it up. All right, until next time, guys. Peace.